I don't know any of this.
Exosquad uniforms remind me of Bionic 6.
Exosquad is cartoon Battlestar Galactica.
Exosquad is 1990s hairstyles all thrown into a room.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Falling Towers Watch the First podcast, the podcast in which we watch the first episode of a series so that you don't have to. I'm waiting for Muhammad to say his line.
Oh, that's right. I forgot. But you still can.
But you still can.
I was so distracted by the haircut or by the hairstyles thing. But
Yeah,
you still can.
you're like,
yes.
what? There really are a lot.
Yeah.
So today you may have guessed that we are doing the first episode of the 1990 show Exosquad, first episode entitled Pirate Scourge. This was suggested to us by our good friend and VFX artist Andre Kottman. Look who's here joining us today. You know her from, practically everything. Meteorologist Katie Nickolaou.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
Awesome shirt, by the way. Everybody, you can find her shirt at the Star Trek and Chill Shopify store online. Prune juice and chill. Gotta love it.
Remind you to stay hydrated.
And fibered.
And fibered. Get those bowels going.
Yeah. Dr. Noor is also here, everybody. He's a great guy in every way.
Yeah, except I forgot my line. The tagline was "You still can." I completely forgot. Always a pleasure to be on Falling Towers. Watch the first of things, and thank you to Ryan T. Husk for this awesome shirt.
It is an awesome shirt. Tiamat.
Colorful.
And I got my shirt at theintrovertedrepublic.com. It's Captain Pickard.
We'll learn more about that next week.
Ain't that the truth? All right. Everybody knows Dr. Muhammad Noor is an occasional Star Trek science advisor. He works at Duke University, pretty high up. He's a cool guy. He's a biologist, a geneticist, evolutionary biologist, all kinds of stuff wrapped into one. Look, the point is, let's talk about this show right here, right now. If you'd like us to review a show, in the comments below, we're doing sci-fi next month, Sci-Fi Month. In the comments below, make your science fiction suggestions, and please tell us where we can stream them. Just type WTF, the show, and where to stream it. WTF stands for Watch First. Give this video a like, please. Make sure you are subscribed and you hit the bell icon for notifications. If you're listening in, give us a 5-star rating. Leave us a nice review. Do all of those things. Hey, say hi to your neighbor. Do all those things. It's a good thing to do. Look, where do we go from here, Muhammad? I don't know anymore.
Now we're in a predicament where we predict what each other's thought of the show before watching it. This is Ryan's favorite part of every episode.
It is my favorite part, which is very ridiculous why I forget it every week, but I do.
That's why I remind you.
So let's do it. We know each other fairly well. The three of us, we've worked together on shows like The Seventh Rule, on this show, Virtual TrekCon. Muhammad and I have watch parties of Katie's TikTok. So
we do. It's so much fun. Remember when we did the icicle one just recently?
Oh, that was, and then we tried it at home.
Yeah. It goes
back
great
to the
with a little bit of
countries
whiskey.
The countries for Animaniacs. We did that too.
That was like that joke. I bought a 12-year-old whiskey. His mom was pissed. Okay. And hey, all right. Let's make our predictions. We know each other well. Dr. Noor, I predict that you are lukewarm on this show. I think you're like, yeah, it was pretty fun. It was pretty cool. No big deal. Not too high, not too low. Katie, I think you liked it. I think you liked it a fair bit, not a rare bit. I think you thought it was fun. It was silly. It didn't knock your socks off. Those are my predictions. What do you think, Muhammad?
So Ryan, I think you liked it pretty well, but I think you're going to be very mad about the number of characters and names on this show. I don't think you're going to be happy with that. Katie, I think again, same. I think, not so much the numbers and names piece, but I think you were like, okay, it was pretty good. And I think it knocked your socks off, but you're okay with it.
Okay. Well, I think, see, this is different for you guys because you might have seen it growing up, sort of thing.
I never grew up.
And I was, well, then, same. But I'm thinking maybe like it's pulling on the nostalgia heartstrings a little bit. So I'd say maybe Muhammad, you're more like a 6 out of 10, and Ryan might be a 7 out of 10, just because I know you like the what's the dude? Oh, you have him on a shirt, which doesn't help at all because you have so many awesome shirts. He-Man. You like that style of animation, so
He-Man is definitely
I'm in
a guy.
1996, so I don't know any of this.
All right, those are our predictions. Everybody at home, make your predictions now. Do you think I like this show as much as He-Man? As much as I liked He-Man, that is not as much as He-Man liked this show. Do you think Muhammad liked this show as much as He-Man liked it? And do you think that meteorologist Katie liked this show or didn't like this show and He-Man is pissed at her for it? Make your predictions in the live chat or in the comments below. While you're typing away, take your time. Dr. Noor is going to let us know what the show is even about.
I kind of want to revise my prediction now after Katie's comment, because she said you all might have nostalgia, so you might be up to like a 6 or something. Like,
Up to a 6.
Well,
like,
up to a 6.
That's not very high.
That's a good catch.
It is on the upper side of 50%.
Yeah. I'm like, okay.
Good catch.
Anyway.
Or I'm just playing mind games.
That could be true. You're not known for that.
True, no.
So, in this future setting, humans have terraformed and colonized Mars and Venus, in part with help with the Neo-Sapiens. The Neo-Sapiens were created by man. They rebelled. Sorry, just making a Battlestar Galactica reference. But the rebellion was crushed. More recently, a group of pirates took over the human ship and killed the crew. And when the Exosquad went to investigate, another bomb went off, destroying another rescue ship. The General Assembly, with encouragement by a Neo-Sapiens leader, Phaeton, sent the whole Exo-fleet armada to fight the pirates. But the armada fell into a trap. So you might say about the Neo-Sapiens, and they have a plan.
Nice.
Intriguing. To quote Julius Caesar in History of the World Part 1, nice. Nice. Not thrilling, but nice. That's the quote. It's a good quote. Look, hopefully everybody, you've made your predictions or are very close to finishing those up, because we are very close to letting you know what we actually thought of this show in a segment Dr. Noor likes to call
Expectation. Or spend a little bit of time what you expected before you saw the show, and spend much more time what you actually get with the show. Or as Ryan likes to say, you compare what you expected with what you actually got.
True. I do love to say, sometimes I just say that when I'm eating cereal at home, watching the birds go by. I go, you can compare and contrast what you expected with what you got. And the birds are like, tweet, tweet. And I'm like, yeah, it's a good, you had to be there. It's a thing. Look, the point is, Dr. Noor, what did you expect before you watched this first episode of Exosquad, if anything?
I had never even heard of it. I had never heard of it at all. I mean, aside from, I remember Andre typing in our live chat repeatedly when we were doing the show recently. He was very emphatic that this is great. But I had heard nothing about it. I mean, I guess it was a cartoon based on that, but like I didn't even know whether it was sort of sci-fi based or it was gonna be like more military or nothing at all. So I went in pretty cold. And then Ryan said it was on Peacock. I was like, oh, that's a random place, but okay.
Mm-hmm. That's a weird.
Nothing against Peacock, by the way.
Yeah, didn't expect it. Michael Kenyon Rosenberg likes to call Peacock poo butt.
Oh,
there you go.
He does.
Those alternative titles.
And I encourage it because it's made me laugh when he said it. The point we're trying to make, Katie, is what did you expect before you watched this first episode, if anything?
See, I didn't expect anything because I'd never even heard of it. I didn't know it existed. I mean, you take one look at like the style of it, and it's like, oh yeah, I know exactly when this happened and probably what channel it was on. But I had very little expectations when you said Exosquad. I thought maybe like exoskeletons and they'd be bugs, but that's just the scientific brain in me taking over.
I like it.
Reboot?
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what I expected, if anything. I did not recognize I did not recognize it, no. But then when I saw it, then I kind of thought maybe I do remember the name, but maybe it's just because I've read it in, people's comments in the past. The imagery looked familiar, so I feel like maybe in passing I had seen a commercial for it or something. Or it might be just that, I mean, look at this. Look at their outfits. And look at the Bionic 6 here, everybody. If anybody knows who the Bionic 6 are, look at how similar that is in style.
Oh, wow.
It just really reminded me of that, especially when they have like the headgear on and all that stuff. So I think Bionic 6, it says, was 87. This was 1990. So this was even more crazy with the Vanilla Ice hair and all that stuff. Anyway, so what I expected was pretty much nothing, just go into it. I thought it was going to be fun because clearly it was some kind of sci-fi animated show that sci-fi nerds liked. So I was like, I'm here for it. But that's what we expected, everybody. Pencils down. All of your predictions got to be in, because now you're about to find out what we actually got, starting with Dr. Noor.
Of course, I have to thank Katie for saying that maybe I grew up with this, because I was like 22 when this came out.
Oh, snap.
But thank you. That was very kind of you.
Everyone who's older than me is perpetually 35 at most.
I like that. I could be 35. I would take that. Yeah. Thank you. I'd have loved this show as a tween or an early teen. I mean, if I was like 12, 13, I would have been like, oh my God, this is my show. This is my show forever. Things I liked about it, I really liked the complexity of the story. I mean, it definitely was not like the stereotypical kid show, which is like, just walk in, whatever, and see, like, no, there was complexity and thought around this whole thing. I like the fearlessness to it, in the sense that, like, okay, we're gonna actually have characters get killed off. Like G.I. Joe never did that. Any helicopter blew up, people would jump out with a parachute, and they were fine. But this one, like, whoa, no, we even like saw dead people. Like, okay, they're all in on this show. Obviously, the general plot had been used before, in the sense of, like, humans create something and it takes over. That's why my repeated references to Battlestar Galactica through the intro there. The execution was good. I mean, I found it, actually, there were multiple times where I was watching enough and I was like, oh, I should be taking notes, but I was actually just like watching. So I took that as a positive. The things that were a little bit not great for me, yeah, oh my God, this list of characters: Phaeton, Marsh, Bronsky, Marcella, Nara, Torres, Takagi, Weston, DeLeon, Charles McKenna, somebody, like, oh my God, so many, and this was in like 20 minutes. How did we get this many characters we have to figure out? And yeah, they look a little different from each other, but they're not like radically, they're not like different species and things like that. So that was very hard. There were definitely some things I got confused about, like in the beginning, like the intro sequence was kind of explaining the show, but then the show started and it like ended earlier than the start of the episode. So I was like, wait, so it took me a bit to figure out, like, I see. So basically there's a spoiler for things that haven't happened yet that's in the intro sequence in this, and there were like 2 revolts of the what are they called, the Neo Sapiens. Like, there was one that happened before both, and then there's one that I guess we're in the process of seeing now. That, like, was not at all obvious just watching it. Like, I had to like stop and think about it, and I think I looked it up online, like, oh, I see. So we're now watching the second part happen now.
Oh, I didn't understand that until you explained it.
Oh, okay. Thank you. All right, I'm glad to help. Anyway, I'll pass the baton over to you. But yeah, so it was a mixed bag. I mean, I'd say net positive, but mixed bag.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Katie?
Well, my initial thought was holy exposition dump, because we got not one but 2, like, oh, hey, yes, we're doing this on Venus and this and this. And then we go to the thing. And now we're doing it on Venus again. It's like, okay, sure. I will say though, immediately I was like, what rating was this? Was it like TVG, like for general audience, or was it for teenagers? Because as soon as they brought on the dancing sexy girl on the little playable pad, I was just like, this wasn't on Disney. This wasn't even on Nickelodeon. Maybe Cartoon Network. Like, holy cow. And so I was just like, okay, switching out of child Katie, and teenage Katie comes on, still too innocent. We're going to go to adult Katie, a little bit closer to what normal teenagers would probably think. And it was colorful. It was bright. Got that. And I mean, yeah, I had a lot of characters, but the one that stood out was Torres because I'm like, Voyager. So I was able to pin down one or two of their names. And yeah, I mean, it's a sci-fi romp in space with pirates. We've heard that one before, but I mean, they're always a fun time, right?
Interesting. Interesting. I was really enjoying hearing what both of you said about this show. I just kind of wanted to just sit and keep listening. Luckily, we're going to have 30 more minutes to talk about this. But before we do that, I'll tell y'all what I actually got. What I got was a pretty good sci-fi animated show from 1990. Whereas if I watched that as a kid, I bet I would have loved it or liked it. You know, it's sci-fi. And I too was disturbed by two things. One was the many characters, but it didn't bother me that much because it wasn't important. They were just names. They all had the same storyline. It was 7 character names going into battle together. It wasn't 7 character names with all their different storylines, and I'm trying to memorize. Okay, no, this is the one that's going to find the snakes, and this is the one that is getting a marriage proposal. You know what I mean? It's 7 character names. You know, I started trying to write them all down, and I was like, you know what? It's not even that important. They're all on the same team. This is one of those things where it's going to be repetition. You know, week 3, week 4, week 5, week 6. Eventually, you'll be like, oh, that's Torres. I like Torres, or that's Tagashi, or whatever. I like Tagashi, or I don't remember their names, but you know, whatever. Bronsky. You know. So not too important. Takagi, I believe, was his name, and Bronsky. Anyway, so that was like, okay, Ryan, you know, don't stress too much. You don't need to know these names. It's not important to the plot at all. Anyway, the other thing that was a problem was that they, like Muhammad said, they explained in the beginning, like the intro. They don't even have a song, like an intro theme song. They have an introduction, and then in the introduction they say the Neo Sapiens revolt and take over all of the empire or whatever, and then it starts off with the Neo Sapiens not having taken over the empire. It's just these guys, and I was like, wait, I'm really confused here. But as Muhammad said, it looks like this is the events leading up to that. So they just have this same intro for the entire season because they feel like, hey, back in the day, a kid turns it on and sees it for the first time. It's episode 14. This way it catches them up. They're good. But if they watch it from episode 1, they're going to be like, this intro needs to be later. But anyway, so
for a second on that.
Overall, it was a good show.
Yeah, so the thing that bugged me about that was the news story at the beginning, because it also talked about a revolt, but it was referring to an earlier revolt.
I know.
Not the one we just... I was like, okay,
it just made it more confusing. It just made it more confusing for adults.
Yeah.
So just imagine if you're a kid. But I bet kids might do better with it because they don't care. They're like, oh, well, look at the purple guy.
Yeah. In one ear, out the other.
Here's the important question that Dr. Noor always wants to make sure that we ask. The question is, who was your favorite character?
You go first, Keith.
Oh, I'm trying to remember his name. The good purple dude that's in your background, Muhammad.
That's who I was going to pick too, is Marsala.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
I was like, I will help.
Yeah, that was my pick too. I hope he
Because
stays
seems
good.
like a nice guy.
I hope he doesn't join the other side. I mean, we don't know, right? He might end up being a traitor.
I bet he'll stay on their team.
Yeah, given the pictures, yeah, probably.
I mean, usually cartoons aren't going to get that complicated, but as you said, Mohammed, this is a much more sophisticated type of cartoon where there's death. There's a much deeper storyline than, say, like a He-Man or a Voltron or something like that. You know, they go in depth. But wouldn't you think that he's probably going to be like, so. No, I will fight my people and defend my friends kind of guy.
He's Odo.
He's Odo. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. My favorite, I don't know. Actually, I don't even have a favorite. I know that they were trying desperately to make Bronsky our favorite because he's the guy that got the most line out of the, what are they, secondary characters? But I was like, dude.
Was he the one who kept burping?
Yeah. Give us one or two burps and we get it. It doesn't have to be after every line. We don't need that. So
they weren't like, TV burps. They were wet. It was gross.
Those are the ones you can taste the most. So if I have to pick, I guess I'll wait, actually maybe Torres. She was a badass, right? Oh yeah, she had the crazy flat top mullet hair, which was just nuts. Yeah, I think the one right behind that, that's the one, Mohammed.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's a flat top mullet with bleached sideburns or whatever. I mean, that's 1990 to the max, to the nth degree.
Speaking of 1990, I noticed the other thing, which is like unnecessary, but is often true for shows that especially from this era, is the spacesuits have like breast spots for women. Like, why would you build it like that? That doesn't make any sense. Like, they don't need that.
Who measures that?
Know they're a woman ahead of time. Like, it's okay.
The ladies don't need breathing room. Tuck them in. We're good.
Yeah. They squish. It's okay.
Exactly.
Does kind of accentuate it. Yeah. They're like, and here is their holder. They're just go ahead and place those right in there. There you. And she's like, I know where they go, bro.
Yeah. I know where they go.
Yeah, that is weird. I didn't even notice that. That's such like an old cartoon thing, though.
Totally.
I feel like that's still the thing where they're like, the men have the chest plate, the women have the breastplate.
Yes, they still have that I think they have it in Strange New Worlds with the what are they? The exploratory like suits when they go out on missions and stuff.
Oh, I didn't notice that there. Oh.
Yeah, you notice a little bit of like a bunny hill, but it's still noticeable.
Wonderful bunny hill.
Well, it's the division in the middle. That's not a problem. I was like, okay, seriously? Like, it doesn't need that.
Yeah, exactly.
Suit cleavage.
Yeah, right. Exactly. That's basically what it comes out to. Like, okay.
Like, get that line right up in there. Just like, really accentuate. See what we can do here.
Yeah.
Okay. Were you guys able to follow the story after the first couple minutes? Did it get a little? I mean, I feel like it was a pretty easy story to follow. It was clearly they were trying to take cartoon storytelling to the next level at this point. They weren't just like every episode's different. It was like serialized, which is cool. Mars, Venus, stuff like that. I don't know. What did you guys think of the story?
You want to go first?
Honestly, I think the story would have been really good if I hadn't had that exposition at the beginning, because I was just left confused. Like, okay, where's the second war coming from? They're fighting pirates? Like, if I didn't know that, I actually probably would have been like way more cohesive with my understanding.
I completely agree. I think it would have been better if they just didn't have the intro sequence for the first episode, or maybe even the first two episodes. Like, just don't. Just let it start and then have a call. And also, like, so one of the favorite show that Katie and I have, Avatar: The Last Airbender, was good because it had a different intro sequence for the first episode or so. Like, it was not exactly the same one. I mean, it had part of the story, but it stopped before the start of the episode as opposed to explaining past the first episode.
Listen, Pally, we don't have the budget for 2 intros. Listen. Yeah, or what about if this would have been a better intro for me as a viewer, is if this one just gave us a cool theme song with a guitar solo and it's introducing every character. It's like JT Marsh and he's like, go over there, team. And you go, hey, he must be the leader. And then like it's got Torres and it's got dude burping, and it's just like boom, boom. Because that's what most of these cartoons do that have 6, 7, 8, 9 characters. They just give them their little 3-second intro with the guitar playing. It's like Exosquad, da-da-da. And then you're like, oh,
I'm
I'll
gonna
watch
need you
Exosquad.
after this. I'm gonna need you to watch Rescue Heroes, because that you just described their intro perfectly.
Rescue Rangers? Wasn't that a show?
Rescue Heroes.
What's that?
I think it's early 2000s. I think you can find it for free online. And it was created with the main character, Billy Blazes, and he was based off of firefighters who died on 9/11. And all they did was go around saving people. And it's really cool.
Oh, that's really neat.
Definitely WTF Rescue Heroes.
Rescue Rangers. Got it.
Good
Here they
show,
are.
different
What
show.
is it? They look like they're
Wendy
firefighters
Waters.
with
Oh.
firefighters with laser rifles.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. So if you'd like us to review Rescue Hero people, in the comments below, type WTF Rescue Hero people and where we can find it online. That's a good one. That would have been a good one for this month. But we're moving into sci-fi next week. But what do you got for us, Mohammed?
One thing I liked the scene where they brought back the what was his name, Charles McKenna, the news guy, on the ship and was getting them all really mad. I thought that was actually very smart. Like, it was interesting just saying, like, here's a hot take on what just happened, and they're all like, how dare you do that? But I thought that was actually really good. I mean, plot wise, like, okay, yeah, this is interesting, showing that, you know, the media aspect is not the same as the other. So,
Well,
which, I mean, I guess,
you never see
we,
that in kids shows.
yeah, very. The one exception is what's his name, Spider-Man. That obviously
Oh,
happens a
true,
lot.
yeah.
But that's an outlier. That's an outlier. I agree with you. In general, it's very uncommon.
I was very happy that they mentioned Olympus Mons.
Oh yeah,
right? What do they call it? The tallest peak or volcano or mountain or whatever it is in the solar system. Now, we know that to be true as far as we know, but do we know for sure that there isn't something taller on Saturn, for example? Or is it
gas giant?
Yeah, no, I just thought of that.
Yeah.
I was going to say, do you think that maybe there's a bigger bump on Uranus or no?
There might
Probably
be.
get that checked.
No, but I mean, I'm asking, do we actually know that? Because I know we can see Mars, so we know that that's higher up. You know, what is it, like something like 50,000 feet or 40,000? I mean, it's way higher than Mount Everest. But do we know about all the other planets?
I don't know. It's a good
I
question.
don't think we would, especially for like Pluto. Well, RIP, actual planet Pluto. But like, if anything has something like that, I don't think we've investigated the farther ones.
Do they even say of the planets, or they just say the solar system? Because I mean, you can still count Pluto in that sense. If it just said in the solar system, 'cause it is in the solar system.
Oh,
True.
very true.
Oh my goodness. No, it's not 50,000. It's 72,000
Wow.
feet high. It's unbelievable. It's
That just
gigantic.
makes anyone climbing Mount Everest seem like a wuss.
I mean, you can actually see it on, looking at something, Mars from a distance, because it's this gigantic crater and it's a smaller planet. But anyway, so I just thought that was cool that they incorporated, real life science. And probably in 1990, it was like this big discovery. Whoa, check out this big old crater thing. It's super tall, bro. So that was interesting. You mentioned the coloring, Katie. Did you really like that, or were you just looking for something nice to say about a show you didn't like?
No, I love the pops of color, because how often do you get to see like that neon pinkish purple that my guy right there is wearing? It's like you get neon yellows, you get neon everything. It really draws your eye, and that makes it fun to watch. At least it soothes my ADHD. So
I do also like the General Assembly thing too, because it was interesting. The whole, like, basically, it's kind of like if you remember back from the Star Wars prequels, right, where essentially that you see things going awry over there. I mean, specifics obviously are pretty different, but yeah, I still thought. I mean, there was a lot. It was surprisingly complex for what would be a Saturday morning cartoon.
if you want to talk about complex, you got to talk about the hairstyles. I was in awe of these hairstyles.
Oh yeah, especially Torres. There was also De Leon.
Yes.
There was Admiral Winfield. There was Captain Marcus. There was Lieutenant Weston. There was Alec and Maggie, Nara Burns, JT Marsh. I'm like, dude, don't say Alec and Maggie, go do this, and then later on call them by their last name. We're not going to know that's the same person.
Yeah, like Wolf
not
Bronsky.
Until like
I
episode 20.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was just a little too sophisticated for a cartoon. like you gotta dumb it down for us. And like, I mean, whatever. It's not important. You don't need to know who these people are. I don't know. Maybe they were based off of toys. That this was got to be another one of those cartoons that was just made to sell toys, right? It's got to be.
Oh yeah.
We're gonna get Katie a Taurus action figure.
Yeah. Yes.
Well, Mohammed, what was your least favorite part of this show?
Honestly, I think it's the first bit there where I was just completely confused. Where like essentially it felt like it was just retelling the story again. I thought, oh my god, it's Silverhawks again.
How dare you?
That was terrible. But then, like, it said that everything was taken over, like that Mars was taken over and Venus was taken over. But then we're seeing Mars and Venus, and they're clearly not taken over by these Neo Sapiens. Like, wait, what? But I thought they were taken over, and we even just had that restart of the story, but I guess it wasn't the whole story. Maybe there's two rebellions. That's why I had to look up later, like, oh no, there were two uprisings. I guess it's also kind of true for Battlestar Galactica, right? Because like with the reboot, they actually refer back to an earlier uprising too.
Totally.
Yeah. That beginning part I was confused would probably be my least favorite part.
Same with you, Katie. Was that your least favorite part?
Yeah, I think it's the beginning tied with the dude just watching NSFW videos on the bridge at work. I'm like, dude, you have a job. You do that in your quarters. You don't do that out here.
Yeah.
Or in the holodeck, whatever floats your boat.
You know what I liked was that the pirates referred to themselves as the clans, because that also set up like, a little thought process where you're like, ooh, so this pirate leader is like a leader of all these different clans of pirates, and there might be groups splintering off and all that. So that was really interesting. Just using terms like alert the clans makes you think, ooh, there could be more to this. It's not just one giant pirate group. They have like a democracy of piracy, which is always nice. Well, look, enough about this show for now. We're going to get to the most important questions about this show in a few minutes. But before we do that, Katie Nickolaou, let's talk about you for a moment, shall we? You are building something. What the heck are you building?
Yes, I am building my own batleth, and I'm going to make it Comic-Con safe. See, I grew up with Nerf guns and Nerf swords and all that fun stuff. So I'm going to get a bunch of EVA foam, which I actually already have. And I'm going to try to find a way to give it stability so I can actually whip it around and smack people. It'll be fun.
Wow.
So it's either going to have like metal coils like in the middle for structure, or maybe like some corrugated plastic or something. Find out. I got time.
You imagine a future martial art with this, where like you make a couple of them and you start training people with them?
Well, I would love it because at C2E2 in Chicago, this big Comic-Con, they have a martial arts section, and they bring lightsabers and they bring all these like Mortal Kombat weapons and everything, and they teach people how to use them. I'm like, dude, imagine if you had at Star Trek Las Vegas a batleth sesh, and you just taught people how to fight with batleths.
Yeah,
it's so cool.
And then you got the mechleths. You now have the curleth.
Oh yeah.
And then you can just go to town with that stuff. How far along are you with this project?
I have a sketch and I have the foam, but I had to order a part because I have to cut the foam at an angle so it actually looks sharp. And they make these beveled X-Acto knife angle cutters, which took longer than I thought to find, but they're in the mail and I should be able to finish it up by next week, hopefully.
What else are you working on lately? It seems like every week you've got some other new projects. You're making a new video. You're TikToking up a champ. Maybe there's a new video thing, like Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok, that you're on some new social media we've never heard of. What's new? What else is going on?
Yeah, so I do have a couple fandom forecasts in the chamber, but until the strike ends, we are not going to see them. And so I'm just hoping that people will come to their senses and pay people what they're worth, because they absolutely deserve it. And
Yeah.
then the main project that we're working on, and we're going to get it going here end of September, beginning of October, is our new show, Welcome to Our Cult. And it's where myself and a friend who also watches a show that I love introduce two new friends who have never seen that show to the fandom. And so it's myself and my college roommate, Jillian, who have seen Good Omens, and my other college roommate, Brandy, who I do Order the Blue Lotus with, along with Charlene Schmidt, who haven't seen Good Omens. And we're introducing them to our cult, and it's going to be great. I think our first actual live stream is going to be September 30th. Over on my channel, So Many Random Fandoms.
Are you still covering episodes of Avatar, or did you already finish that project?
We are finishing Avatar. We still have all of season 3. We just finished season 2 because life.
Yeah.
But it's going to be great because now we're getting towards the final stretch, and I know more of these episodes from memory. So it'll be really good discussions coming up.
Oh, that'll be great when you get into the Fire Kingdom.
Oh, it's going to be amazing. I love their outfits and everything. It's so good.
I just love the name Welcome to Our Cult. I think that's brilliant. Are you just going to be covering Good Omens on that, or is that going to be like a general show where it's just like whatever fandom you are a part of or of which you are a part, and then you welcome somebody in and try to convert them?
Exactly. That's it. We're starting with Good Omens because it's super easy. It's 6 episodes per season. Not that big a time commitment. And then as we go through, I'm going to write down a list of all my fandoms, if that's possible, and just try to pick out friends who mention, like, I want to see the show, but I haven't seen it yet, and be like, hold that thought, get over here. So we're probably going to end up doing like Star Trek the animated series, or Prodigy, or Lower Deck, something that's more easily digestible than 7 seasons of Next Gen, DS9, or Voyager, but something like that. Doctor Who's always an option, and it's going to be fun. Oh, it's going to happen, Ryan. We're going to make you love David Tennant.
Oh, you define it by the Doctor. Okay, that works a lot better than like Doctor Who. It's like 50 years of stuff.
Bless him. I think that would take longer than Star Trek to watch all of them.
Oh, yeah. Well, Katie, can you tell everybody where they can find you and all of your shows?
Yes, I'm glad you said shows, because I thought you were going to go with the other 4-letter word. I was like, that also works.
All of your stuff.
All my stuff. You can find me at weather_Katie on all the social medias. And if I'm not on all the social medias, then let me know, because I clearly need to get that username under my thumb. And on YouTube, I'm So Many Random Fandoms.
I'm going to give a shout out for Katie's live streams on Facebook too. They're great too. Aww. If you follow Meteorologist Katie Nickolaou there's a lot of great content too that comes up daily, I think, too, because you have your forecast as well as other content.
Yep, every day I post my weather update, and then I throw in a bunch of crazy chaotic stuff for the people who watch me from like the Philippines and Texas. So it's great. For you, Mohammed, we get all the extra fun stuff.
Just putting this out there, but right before you do your forecast, you can have like a pre-show and call it the 3cast and be like really clever about that. But I guess a forecast is already like pre, because anyway, never mind. Use it if you want, but I wouldn't advise it. Look, it's time to move forward. Mohammed's got the karate chop ready. It is time for the Terrible Twos.
Bottom line on the bottom.
What if you just combine the two and just...
Oh, there you
go. Maybe.
Transition.
But everybody knows it's the Terrible Twos, and it's the final 2 questions of the show. Question number 1 is uber frickin' important. And that question is, Mohammed, on a scale of 1 to 10, what would you give this first episode of Exosquad entitled Pirate Scourge?
I would give it a 10. No, I wouldn't give it a 10. I would give it a... No, wasn't that good? It's 5. I gave it a 7.5. Because I mean, I thought it was very smart. I mean, for the, I think, intended audience of like teens or like early teens and stuff like that, I think it's like outstanding. For me, like, yeah, I still enjoyed it. I mean, I you know, it was a good ride. It kept me interested. Like I said, the fact that I kept on forgetting to write things down because I was just kind of watching was a very good sign.
Good points there. What about you, Katie? And why did you give it a 4?
Dude, how did you know?
I already put it in my notes. I was like, she's giving it a 4. It's already right there. I've already written it down.
I gave it 2 scores, actually.
Oh,
I gave it a
didn't get
personal
that.
score and an objective score. Because for me, as I am now, it's more of like a 4 to 5. It's interesting. I'm sure it has details that emerge, but I'm not the target audience. And about halfway through it, I was like, yeah, this wasn't made for me. So then I started watching it without, am I enjoying it, or would a teenage boy enjoy this sort of thing? And that elevated the score up a bit. I put it as a 7. So it's definitely more of a personal preference.
Wow.
I'm going to have to use yours in this case, though, because people always do it based on their own, not in an objective general sense.
Yep.
Yeah, right.
See, that's
Katie,
me being the scientist trying to take my emotion.
We need a third score, and that third score is what you are officially giving this.
I will give it a 5. I will give it a solid 5 as my official score, because it has to get bonus points for being good for a different audience. And I accept that. So it technically is part of my view of it. I'm just mucking this all up, aren't I?
No, this is great. We love numbers.
Yeah, totally.
Yay!
Because I do that sometimes too, where I say objectively it's a 7. Personally, it's a 4. And then I sometimes decide to go with the personal thing. So I go, I'm giving it a 4 then. But then other times I'll be like, so objectively it's a 7, so I'll give it a 7. And if anybody's watching and really paying attention, they would realize that I kind of vacillate on that, and they could call me out on it and be like, wait, last time you stuck with your personal subjective score, and the other time you stuck with the objective. It's like, a different day. Who knows how I feel? On this one, I gave it a 6.6. That's good.
Okay.
It was cool. It was fun. I think I could see why people liked it. As kids, I could even see maybe adults liking it for the lore and storytelling of it, because it's a good story. Wasn't really told very well at the beginning. We keep beating that to death, but it's true. It was that's an area that needs improvement. That's an opportunity for growth.
There you go.
And the characters, I'm sure, were fine. They just sound like a big jumble of names, except for the burping guy. And the purple guy. Burple and Purple, that's their team name. So that's question number 1. But question number 2 is the really important one that Peacock execs really watch this show for. They're like, I always have to fast forward till the end to find out what question number 2 is. That question is, for the purposes of this podcast, we all had to watch the first episode of Exosquad, but now that the podcast is over and we're free to move about the internet, Dr. Muhammad Noor, would you, of your own volition, watch the second episode?
I would, I think. I'll just say I would, but realistically, it's not going to happen. But I could imagine a scenario where it could. So I'll say yes in that sense.
That perfect world where you have all the time.
Yeah.
What about you, Katie? Would you, of your own volition, watch the second episode?
No. No, because the way I see it, I could Google it and get the whole summary really quickly, and I have no want to see it fleshed out. I want it all at once, and then that's it.
Yeah. What about if Dr. Noor said, hey, you want to hang out, have some potato chips, and watch this silly show together? You guys totally
There
would.
We go, yes.
Chocolate milk and potato chips. I could see that.
Well, my lactose intolerant. Chocolate milk wouldn't be great.
Oh, no.
Well, chocolate milk doesn't like you either.
Apparently doesn't.
You're like, I know.
Bring over some baklava.
Baklava, yes. I'm all in for that.
There we go.
Get my mom to make some. She makes the best baklava.
Ooh. I need to try that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, Peacock execs, right now they're like, will you guys stop talking about food all the time? It's 1-1. Ryan's the tiebreaker today. Well, you can rest easy, Peacock. It's a yes from me. It's about as much of a yes as Muhammad's. It's a very tepid yes. And I think I actually put down, it's a yes, mostly out of curiosity because I was confused. So I think the second episode might be so much better because there won't be like that weird confusion. By then we'd have our bearings. I'm not saying I will. I most certainly probably will not. But yes, I would. It was, it's a fun enough story, colorful enough. It's got a bunch of fun characters that I'll probably end up liking at some point had I watched it, or if I do watch it. So you got it. You win, Peacock, this time. That's it for us. Two resounding yeses and a no.
Yes.
Anyway, everybody at home, if you'd like us to review a show in the comments below, please make that suggestion. Say WTF, that stands for Watch the First, and the show and where we can stream it, and we will review it. Maybe. I mean, whatever. Yeah. Next week begins Sci-Fi Month. So if you have your science fiction, but isn't this cartoon science fiction? Yes, it is. But hey, whatever. Some things bleed. Yeah. It's a bridge show. Make your suggestions in the comment section below.
And not the 2004 Battlestar Galactica. Ryan's already said no on that one because it's like a 3-hour episode.
Oh, because it's 2 hours. Yeah. I'll just spoil it right now. It's like a 9, and yes, I would. It's really good. Okay, let me just tell you that right now.
Same.
Okay, there we go.
Done.
Yeah, we did it, everybody. 2 shows in 1. So what I'm trying to say is, don't forget to like, subscribe, 5-star rating, review, say hi to your neighbor. Unless your neighbor's creepy, then close your blinds. This podcast was colorful.
This podcast was a throwback to the 90s.
This podcast was excellent.
Oh, well done.
Katie showing how it's done.
It took me 2 days to come up with that, guys. 2 days.
Yeah. All right.
Smart to be thinking about it.
Yeah. Everybody, look, just remember what Michael Kenny Rosenberg likes to say.
Don't forget to be an organ donor, and don't forget to watch the first of things.
All right, everybody, freeze frame like your least favorite character. I don't even know. I don't know.
That shitty smile and pretend that